Welcome to TheoTrade. This is Don Kaufman. Here we are. It's June 1st, 2017, just moments after the market closes. Well, up substantially. The S&P futures are up some 18. But before I go any further, again, I'm Don Kaufman, and I'm going to have Doc Severson is also live here in the studio. So we're going to split up this evening's video. What I'm actually going to bring you to is the big boys of tech. So we see the S&P is exploding to the upside. The Nasdaq is extremely weak on a percentage basis. And again, I want to point this out and be very, very specific of it. The Nasdaq up about 0.4%. The S&P is up about what? 0.7%. So there's, ultimately some weakness in the Nasdaq. And very, very specifically, I talked about the big stocks out there, your Microsoft, your Facebook, your Apples, your Google, your Amazon. And I want to show you actually how to build this on a chart, because I find it's like almost like a synthetic Nasdaq. And what you can actually do, and a lot of charting packages can do this, but you can type in, for instance, Microsoft, then hit plus, and then go to Google L, right? And then hit plus, and then Amazon, okay? And then plus, and then we'll round it out with Apple. So it's, the warriors of tech over here. And if you take a look at a chart on just these, and again, all this is Microsoft plus Google plus Amazon plus Apple. We're adding them up, which is an absolute behemoth. We're actually creating our own Nasdaq, if you will. And again, I'll zoom in here really, really tight. You can see we've now had 1, 2, 3, 4 days, and it almost looks like they're rolling over. It's even more interesting to look at this kind of on a 1 minute time frame over the last 2 trading sessions. I've been talking about these little glimpses of volatility that we've seen in the last couple of trading session over here. And I can even pull up like 4 days, for instance, 5 minute. So you can see little glimpses of volatility. But what have the big boys of tech done inside of the last 4 days? And the answer is, well, here was a rally. Okay, here was a wild and woolly fade yesterday, another wild and woolly fade. The answer is absolutely nothing. To be watched very, very carefully in the days to come over here. None of your major tech stocks really participated in any of the upside of today's rally. With that, I'm going to bring over here Doc Severson, who's also going to give you a very, very different look inside of the markets.
All right, good evening, folks. This is Doc Severson here with TheoTrade. Thank you, Don. What I'm looking at here is the Russell chart. Now, I talked about this the other day, and what I talked about is what would have to happen with the Russell for it to reverse. Now, if you remember what I did, I drew a box around the price right in here, okay? So I want to zoom in on this just so you can see this better, because this is classic price action 101. Okay, so what we did was we had this trend here, this trend in place, which is lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, and into a lower low. Okay, so when this lower high was set up, and we already have this lower low down here, this is where we draw the box around this. So this is price action 101 right in there. Now, here's the key, is that most people at this point are going to look at this chart and say, okay, this is bearish, and go all in on this thing. So even though it's already gone through several swings, everybody's going to be all bearish. Now, the first clue here is a type of candlestick like this, like a hammer, right? Well, what you have to do is when the price is within the box, you have to be open to either type of scenario coming here. Either the price is going to break down through this down here, and then that's going to confirm the bearish, or the price is going to turn on its heel just in the manner that we've seen here and bust a move outside the top of the box. So right now what I've seen is actually a change in polarity to an uptrend now with a lower high, or excuse me, higher high, higher low combination, which breaks the downtrend. So what do we do with something like this? Can we set up perhaps a short-term trade to retest the top up here at about 1420? Well, yes, we can. We can do that. So what we would do with something like that is we can either go to the Russell. The Russell's one way to do that. Probably for most retail traders, the best thing to do would be the IWM, because it's much smaller notional value. If you believe that in the next couple weeks, that the price is going to be up near 14.25, let's add a few more strikes onto here. Okay, what you can do is simply set up a couple of things. You can set up, so if we say 14.25 on the IWM, this is going to be slightly different. Okay, so it's going to be on the IWM, it's going to be about, let's call that 142. So on the IWM, we want 142, and we want to set up that target. You can simply set up something like a butterfly up here. So that's one thing that you can do. We can buy a butterfly. This is going to be your least expensive option for this. So we're going to go over here, 141, 142, 143. Okay, and that's only going to cost you 10 cents, or basically $10 per contract, plus commissions, which may be more of a load to that. So that's a very, very inexpensive way to be able to speculate on something like that. Obviously, buying the call option right at the money is a little bit riskier because of volatility crush. What you can also do is just set up a simple vertical spread. So instead of doing this, we can throw this one out of here and in fact do a 141.5. Okay, let's do a vertical spread, 141.5, 142.5. So let's add that one down here. Okay, and that's only going to be, normally I find these are about 20 cents or so. So again, think about this, $23 to speculate on that. You're not risking much. Even a small account can do a trade like this. And right now it's showing a very high probability based on the fact that we have that reversal in play. It may not wait for very long, and it may not take very long to get up there. All right, that is it for today's report. Hope that helps. We will see you guys tomorrow. Have yourself a great weekend. Take care.